It is Thursday, October 24th, and today we're talking about Tesla. Tesla's up 40 points today, up 18.75%. We're going to find out why and really analyze what's going on with this stock. So, there are a few dates that I want to go over with you today. One of them being yesterday, October 23rd, another being October 10th, another being July 23rd. We have April 23rd, and finally, January 24th, all of this year. And we're going to talk about why there's so much discrepancy with Tesla and with the stock. So, we're going to figure out what's going on with all these bumps. So, let's start with the most recent event today. Today, we have stock up 39.93, basically up 40 points. It's been bouncing around 250 to 253 this morning. And the reason why we're seeing that is we had an earnings report yesterday from Tesla. We have a Q3 earnings report, which we can see here. We have 25,000, and these are in millions. So that's $25 billion in revenue for Q3. This was just announced yesterday, so it was forecasted that the stock was going to explode this morning, and that's exactly what it did. The earnings for Tesla is just amazing. So we're seeing some amazing stock prices today. The reason why you're seeing stock prices go up is investors love what they're seeing with the earnings report, so they're buying the stock. And it's very important to remember when we're looking at investing that earnings, profits, that's really what drives price. Every once in a while, some people get involved and a million people start trading a stock, a million people start buying into a stock, and it manufactures a high stock price. But this is the real reason why you're seeing quality stock prices from a company like Tesla. So I also want to go over October 10th because stock prices weren't looking good just a couple weeks ago. We can see on October 10th, we see a huge dip between the 10th and the 11th here. We were trading up to late September on the 30th. We were trading around 261, so higher than it is right now. And then October 11th, we see a close of 217 for the day. It dipped all the way down to 214. So, what was going on during the 10th and the 11th? That's when Tesla had its robo-taxi event. As we can see here in Barron's, they were waiting for the robo-taxi event. We heard from Elon Musk that something was going on. They were going to announce new products, and the products look pretty cool. We'll see if they work. We'll see if they get out in time. They announced a robo-taxi car for 30K that should come out in a few years. They announced a lot of cool stuff like robots, but guess what? Investors don't care. They're selling that news right now, and the stocks dropped for that day. So that was October 10th. Stocks dropped because of this news. Really, ultimately, stocks aren't going to skyrocket unless we're seeing some quality earnings, which, if we go back to Q3 of 2024, which was yesterday, we saw amazing earnings. So the next date that we're going to look at is actually this earning date of July 23rd. Let's look at the stocks for July 23rd. We have July 22nd trading around 250 on the 22nd. On the 23rd, it was closing around 246. I believe that, like yesterday, the investors report, the earnings call was done at night. So what you would see is a change on July 24th, and boom, drops to 215.99, essentially 266 for the day. We didn't like the investors report. Investors didn't like the earnings call that we saw from that day, so they started selling the stock. And what we see for Q2 on that date is 25 billion in revenue, which is actually higher than the revenue that we had yesterday. However, the profit was down to 4.5. So a lower profit than we saw from Q3, and it was actually lower than expected. Investors expected to see a little bit lower prices or a little bit higher profit. So what they did, they started selling. They're like, we want to see better results. So let's go to the next date, which is April 23rd. And I bet you can guess what April 23rd is. It's another investors earning call. So what we're going to do, We see April 23rd. We're going to see how the stock market reacted. April 22nd, April 23rd. So we have April 22nd, Tesla is going down from the beginning of the year. At the beginning of the year, it was trading around 250, and it was slowly going down, 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 down. And then we see right here, April 22nd, it hits a low for the year at 142. It opened at 140. April 23rd, 144. April 24th, 162. And it kept going up. It went down a little bit for about a month, and then it skyrocketed. We talk about that a little bit. But what we're seeing here, April 23rd, let's look at the quarterly report. Profits for April 23rd at 3.6 billion, almost 3.7 billion. You might be thinking, wow, this is actually lower than Q2. It's even lower than Q1. So what's going on here? So what we see next to answer that question, let's take a look at the Wall Street Journal. And it said, meanwhile, Tesla shares jumped after the market closed following the electric vehicle maker's results. Tesla reported a sharp drop in profit, we just noticed that, but said it was accelerating the launch of more affordable models. So sometimes profits may not necessarily give us what we expect in the stock market, and we see the opposite of what we expect. And it's interesting because this is just news. Unlike the other news, the robo-taxi, which saw the stock drop, we see a little bit news, a little bit of reports from Elon Musk that Tesla is going to be more accessible to regular people, everyday people who don't have $75,000, $100,000 to buy a car, and the stock went up. So finally, we're going to go over January 24th, which is Q4 of 2023. That's their earning call then. And let's take a look here. We have 4.4 billion with a total revenue of 25 billion. On the 24th, we see the market was 211.88 trading Tesla. Assuming the event was overnight, the next day we'll show the results. And exactly that's what happened. We see 182 is the close for the day, 189. So it went down through the day after that earnings call, which is interesting because, again, we see decent revenues, okay profit. In fact, profits went up from the quarter before. And this is interesting when you look at different growth of Tesla, growth company like Tesla, other companies. We expect results. Investors expect results. We should be expecting more and more money every year. And the more money the company makes, the more we're going to buy into their stock. That's a little bit about the story of Tesla for the year. As we can see, it's back to trading 253, 254. So it's up 40 points. And year to date, this is important to see. The stock is up 2.22%. So if you invested on January 1st or January 2nd at the beginning of the year, you wouldn't really see much difference. Now, let's go back one full year. We're up almost 20%. Let's say you invested 5 years ago. This is astronomical, really. It was trading around $22, $23. Now, that is before the stock split. So after the stock split, it was probably closer to 200. I don't remember exactly what the stock split was. I think they went through 2 or 3 stock splits since then. But the fact is, if you bought in late 2019, you would be up 1,400%, which is amazing. If you were an early buyer in the Tesla stock, you would be up 20,000%, which means if you invested for every $1.30 you invested, you would now have $253. You can do the math there and see how much money you have. But here's the thing. We shouldn't always worry about investing at a certain time. As you can see, a lot of people, how many people invested in October, in November of 2021, early 2022, how many people saw that the stock for Tesla was skyrocketing and they said, oh, I want in to get on these highs. It's only going to go up. Well, it went down for over a year straight before it started going up again. So investing early is important. Here's the thing. At one point, you have to get into the market. And I'm not saying you have to necessarily invest into Tesla. It's a growth stock without any sort of dividend. Some people don't like Tesla as a stock. That's fine. You can choose what you want. It's only been around for 14 years or so. But here's the thing. At one point, you have to get into the stock market. You have to start your investments. And if you chose to get into Tesla, at one point, you may have gotten in these highs. You may have gotten in here when it was only $15. You may have gotten in here in late 2022. It's really where you never really know if you're going to get in the right time. But if you let this sit for 5, 10, 15 years, it's going to grow, right? Tesla in 15, 10 years from now, the stock price is going to grow. They may go through some stock splits, but we may see in this stock at $1,000 per share in 5, 10 years. So even if you bought in at $381, you're still going to make a profit. So the idea is buy in early. Don't time the market, because you know what happens when people time the market? They usually get in right here. Let's say it's November 1st, 2021. You hear in the news, or your friends tell you, look, Tesla's blowing up. We need to buy now. That's usually when people try to time the market. So should you get in now? That's totally up to you. Right now, it's almost nearing a high for the year. So if you do decide to get in right now, that's fine. Just don't get upset if in a month it's down to 240 and you're losing money. Instead, just hold it, see what happens, wait for it to get $300, $350, and don't try to get rich quick off of this stock. Instead, try to build something in your stock portfolio. I hope that this helped. I hope it really went through some of the ideas of why a stock will go up and down, what really drives the profits, and how to look at investing. My name is Bradley Valentine. Have a good day. We'll keep you updated.